Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Launch Network. This is Carmine Danisco, your co-host for today's show. Awesome show. Reality is with Mr. Mark Portney. What's up, Mark? What's happening out there?
What's a co-host? I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I was stuttering. It's just because we have multiple co-hosts. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to bring out Brian. See, he's always cutting you out like it's nothing.
Anytime.
Anytime
I don't know
you
if
can
you
cut
like
me out.
hot cocoa. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, everything's great. Had another awesome weekend. It's all good stuff. Happy as a clam.
You know, if people are listening, you know, farther out in the future, what's happening with the virus up there with you and Brian? What's going on up north?
Massachusetts is actually doing a pretty good job right now, controlling everything. But I don't know. It's far from back to normal, you know, but things are looking a little more like normal. Gyms and stuff started to open, but we'll see how long that lasts. It's kind of all signs pointing to things closing up again, but you know, luckily we're on the online side, so life's okay here.
Yeah,
New York and New Jersey's a mess, Mark, right?
No, I mean, yeah. Of course, they rescinded the inside eating. You're eating down in Florida, right? They're eating inside.
Dude, there is they try to stop. People are going crazy down here. That's why the virus is just everyone's going to get it in Florida. It's insane, man. It's so.
Yeah.
Do you think both of you guys? I know you guys are both business guys. Do you think that they'll be able to stop people from working again? I mean, I think there'll be like a riot or something.
I don't think they're going to stop.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to stop.
That could happen.
I don't think they're going to stop. I mean, I think, you know, people will do what they need to do. There's some businesses that are just taking it straight in the ass. I mean, that's it. There's no way around it. But it's really, it's pretty amazing how resilient some of these businesses are. Of course, they're down, obviously, but they're really doing what they can to keep it in check. New York and New Jersey is actually doing a pretty good job right now. But like Brian said, everybody's talking about, the fall, and we'll see what happens. But I think the only way to get out of this 100%, and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but it is going to be a vaccine. I mean, that's really the way that I see it. I don't see any other way around because some people are even anti-masking and all this other shit. So who knows, you know?
Yeah. I was talking to my buddy the other day on Friday about, you know, he's like, what kind of business would you start right now? You know, and I didn't have the answer to it, but it's like everything you think of now, you say, well, what if this happens? It's like nobody ever planned a business previously for this to happen. So how can you judge, you know, what the right venture is if your barometer is, you know, the world collapsing? You can't. You know, it's crazy.
And you can't start a PPE business because that would be everybody's knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I'm going to start a mask business. Every asshole and their brother sells masks right now. Every asshole and their brother sells face shields and all this bullshit. Two things. Number one, it's so crowded. Number two, the e-commerce portion is almost dead. And number three, once everything gets back to, let's call it normal, whatever that is, whatever the new normal is, it's going to go away, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a terrible business to try to get into right now.
Yeah. Facebook has banned medical masks.
Wow.
So any N95, KN95, whatever, hand sanitizer, and any test kits. So if you see any ads for those things, they've snuck through the Facebook algorithm. But we have clients that we worked with for years that had those things in their portfolio of products, and we can't run ads for them anymore on that.
Wow.
No matter what, even if you're not trying to take advantage of the situation, they will not approve ads for those products. So all these guys who went out and said, oh, I'll just invest, I'll buy 1 million units, we'll flip them on Facebook and Instagram ads. They're stuck with a lot of inventory.
Amazon too. Amazon's doing the same thing. I mean, we have a UV cured adhesive. Just because the words UV were in the title, nothing to do with PPE. We got shut down for a couple of days.
Wow, that's
until
terrible.
The investigation. It's Carmine. It's out of control, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So, anyway, so we have this podcast. We talk all the time. We do multiple episodes. But you know what? I was sitting around over the weekend and thinking, you know what? we talk to everybody all day long. We talk to inventors, but we talk to entrepreneurs as well. And we never really investigated. And I know this sounds so stupid, but the plumber's faucet is always the one that's leaking. But we never talked about you guys and what your guys' businesses are and how you can help, whether it's during a pandemic, whether it's in regular business, and what you guys are doing that can help some of the entrepreneurs that are tuning in today. And I think it's imperative. And I kind of chuckled to myself when I thought about it. I mean, we talk every single day. Sometimes we have on some great guests. Sometimes we just bullshit. Sometimes I just rant and rave. And, we never talk about it. So, Brian, I know you have a company called Posted Social, and it's postedsocial.com, a very inventive website. And so you do social media, but your twist is a little bit different, correct?
Yeah. So we focus mostly on paid advertising. So our sweet spot is when you want to come to us and say, hey, it's time for me to start advertising on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. That's where we step in and take over. So we don't necessarily have a team of 16-year-old girls sitting around posting pretty pictures and saying, oh, look how many likes we get. Like, those vanity metrics don't mean much to us. Our sole goal is, ROI on what we're spending. So if we spend $1,000 on ads, how much does that $1,000 make us in sales? Or for some other companies we work with that are generating leads, not selling product directly from an e-commerce perspective, our goal is, okay, for every dollar we spend, how many leads does it generate for us? And then of those leads, how many convert? And then we figure out, the right cost. So that helps us determine, are we swimming in the right pond with our audience? Are we getting you quality leads? Sales it's a little easier. If it's a transaction, it's good. So that counts. But leads, we want to make sure we're, getting to the right people. So we do, B2B leads, we do B2C leads. And then from a sales perspective, just converting purchases through advertising, we sell everything from handbags to environmental type of equipment, to we used to have some hand sanitizer products, to all kinds of consumer goods, to children's books, and gift boxes, everything in between. So what we really look for with that is items that we know are at a price point that is going to make money if you put some ad spend behind it. And it's similar to that of Amazon. If you're selling something for less than $20, it's fairly difficult to make a strong return on Amazon because they tweak and clip you for all this money. Same kind of goes for Facebook, in the sense that if you have short margins and you're not converting at, a very low cost. So if my product's $9.99 and I only have $3 of margin in there, maybe, and it cost us $1.20 to convert a customer, things aren't that great with that number. So we look for items that are in our sweet spot of that $30 or more range. It could be 30, it could be 30,000. Anything in that gives us room to wiggle. And then we come in, we step in and say, okay, we're going to run your advertising. We're going to place these ads. We're going to convert customers. We provide really in-depth data, metrics. A lot of companies will come to us when they're trying to get into big box retail to understand, what does their customer look like, right? So if you go to Walmart and you sit down now with your product, Mark and I did it a year ago, the first question they ask is, how much are you selling on Amazon and what are you doing from a marketing perspective? They want to know that. They know what they can do by listing your product on their shelf, but they want to know, what are you going to do to drive your customers to us? And then who is it that's buying? Does it fit our demographic? So when we run ads online, we gather all that information and we make these companies even more powerful when they go to negotiate a retail contract, with a buyer, to say, hey, our demographic is exactly who shops in your store. If you put this on the shelf, you're going to make money.
So Carmine, I've been doing this for about 35 years, calling on big box, selling consumer products and all that stuff. And I went to a major, not, obviously a little bit before the pandemic. And they used to ask you, Home Depot, what is Lowe's doing? Or Lowe's, what is Home Depot? Nobody asks about a brick and mortar competitor anymore. To Brian's point, you go in and they go, what are you doing on Amazon? And they're interested in what's known as the pull-through marketing. So in other words, instead of push, it's already out there. It's already being, there's traction, and they're looking at it and they're saying, holy shit, look at all this. There's 700 million followers or what have you. And Brian is responsible for that. But Brian, let me take it back to the beginning. If I have a company and I have, let's call it a new product, or I have a new company that I'm funding and I'm getting it going. And you said something very, very interesting. One side is the social media side. The other side is the lead generation side. Back in the day, lead generation meant I bought a new pair of sneakers and I broke my ass and went from customer to customer. So now with guys like you and your company, you're able to generate these leads. Where do I start? So I'm a company, I've got a product. I email Brian at postedsocial.com. What are my expectations? What do I do? What's the first piece? How do I pay you? What, take me through slow.
Yeah.
How do I get started?
Yeah. So the first thing we always do is, I'll follow up. So if somebody reaches out, we'll get on the phone and start a conversation. I want to understand, where you are in the life cycle of your business. Are you established and you need to take it to the next level? Do you have an invention that you need to get out to the world? We work primarily with entrepreneurs, small businesses, and companies that are, I'd say, less than 50 employees. That's kind of our sweet spot, because most of the time, those are people or businesses that know they need the help. They don't want to hire a full-time employee at, 80,000 plus benefits, whatever it is. They can get us for a cheaper rate with the same outsourced full service marketing department. So anybody from one person with an idea in their garage that they need to take to the world up to an established business. So we'll start that conversation with them and understand where they're at, what their goals are. Is it to sell? Is it to generate leads? Is it to do both? If you have a certain type of company, have they had any experience or success running ads before online? So a lot of people come to us and say, oh, I tried Facebook ads. It's like, okay, what'd you do? Oh, well, I spent, $10 a day. And after a couple of days, I turned it off because I didn't get any sales. It's like, all right, well, you spent $30. Their audience is 50 million people on Facebook. Their price point for their product is $74.99. You didn't even spend enough to sell a product. You didn't even put one times your cost in there. So it takes, it takes testing this. Like I compare it to, you can't go to the gym, walk around and expect to get muscles. You have to go up to the weights and you have to lift them. So just
really,
we popped up an Amazon page. Yeah, well, Mark, I know. Well, so
no wonder what's been happening.
Yeah, I've been telling them, but so we have to let things play out. So we typically will say, okay, this is what we're going to do. If you've run ads before, we'll do an audit of the account. I do it for free because I want to step in and say, hey, this is what this other company was doing for you, or this is what you're doing for yourself. Here's how we would try to improve that. So we just went through it with a guy who sunk a lot of money into a startup product. The agency that he chose, they try to do these 3 to 6 month contracts. So in the agency space, the digital agency space, a lot of companies want to sign up as many 3-month contracts as they can, and they plan their sales cycle. So at the end of that 3 months, you move on, that you don't continue the relationship with them. So what that does is it guarantees you 3 months of revenue. I don't give a shit how my results come out because you're going to pay me for 3 months. And I'm just trying to chop shop, sign up as many 3 months as you can. So this guy got involved with one of those and his contract was up. And what these companies do also is they charge you based on a percentage of your ad spend. So it says, hey, Mark, I need you to start at $20,000 a month for your advertising budget because we charge, 20% and I want to make my $4,000. And then no matter how many sales I get that first month, I go, I think you should charge, you should try 30,000 this month because we've seen some increase. Then the next month, hey, you should try 40,000 this month. At the end of the day, you've spent $100,000 on ads. They've made their pretty penny and they kiss you goodbye whether they sell a unit or not. We work on a flat fee because I believe that the only time I should ask our client to spend more money is if it's returning them more money. So if I say, hey, we spent $1,000 this month and you did 400 sales, let's spend 3,000 next month and let's see if we can break that 1,000 sales mark. And I don't put any more money in my pocket. We work on a flat fee. So our clients that spend $500 a month and our clients that spend $65,000, $70,000 a month on ads, they all pay us the same retainer. All right. We work on one flat price. So that's how, we kind of introduce ourselves. I do that audit. I say, here's what we can, change. Then from there, they say, I'm interested. We put together a program that outlines that and shows them, hey, this is what we're going to do for the first, 6 months of this. I try to engage for an extended period of time if you haven't done anything before. Okay. So if you're a brand new company, we can't just throw up $500 in ads and expect, holy shit, we made $40,000 this month, right? It takes learning. Who's the right audience? What's the right creative? Do we have to tweak that creative? Does the copy make sense? All of those things we have to test out, and that typically takes us a couple months. So for a brand new business that's just starting up, I'll want to get that 3 months underneath my belt to make sure we have enough time to produce. If somebody's been doing things prior and they can bring us those results and I can look at them, I'll go month to month with you, because if we can't improve on something that already exists, then shame on us, right? If it's brand new, we don't know who the hell the right person to buy this is. And I'll give you a quick example. We had a product brand new to the market. It was coasters, slate coasters with famous sports plays etched on them. Really cool idea. I loved it. Every guy in the country was like, oh, nice. There's the Derek Jeter flip play from the Yankees, or Babe Ruth calling his home run shot, whatever it is. So we advertised the shit out of it to guys. Not one guy bought it. Only women bought it. So after the first month, we realized, hey, we need to change focus here, because it's moms buying them for their sons and husbands and nephews and uncles and cousins. It's no guy buying it for himself, right? So if we only had a 1 month deal, we would have said, oh, well, you guys suck. You didn't get us any results. The next month, things jack up, right? Now things are going well. They're selling a lot of units and everybody's happy, but it takes that learning and testing. So if you're under the gun for a 30-day commitment and you don't produce, oh shit, you're out of luck, So we try to avoid that. But that's really the whole service in a nutshell.
Wow.
Do you know how many people out there are, how many CEOs are out there that are hooked into an agency right now that you just pissed off?
Yeah, man. I think the model doesn't make sense. Like, the more money you spend, the more I make, regardless of what you make. It just doesn't line up to me,
Right.
Like, I'd rather say, hey, we're a fixed cost for X amount of dollars a month. That's what we're going to charge you. If I make you $1 or $1 million, you still pay me this much.
Yeah.
We're not in for the percentage of sales. We're not trying to encourage you to spend more money. And we have a lot of loyal clients because of that, and really the only time people leave us is if we test something and it just flat out, the market says, hey, we're not interested in this. Or recently, hey, our local businesses shut down, the restaurants we work with, the HVAC companies we work with, that were saying, hey, I can't go in anybody's home right now. So, we're not up. Then we stop the ads. Everybody else. So the only thing we have seen a dip in right now on the e-commerce side are the clients who sell any type of cleaning product that we're selling before COVID.
Wow.
Because as I said before, Facebook shutting down all this stuff, it's negatively impacting the Clorox and Lysol type of products of the world, even though they've already been out there. So that's the only thing we've seen a dip in. We have seen steady, if not increased sales in every other category that we work in.
Wow. Hey, real quick, Bri, what's funny to me, and maybe people don't think about this, is even if a product doesn't work, like you said, it flat out doesn't work, you're actually saving people money by letting them know their product doesn't work, or that they're targeting the wrong people.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, we're all in the invention space, and a lot of people, like Mark says, right, they don't want to hear that their baby's ugly. I'm not giving you an opinion.
It's proof.
I'm showing you proof that, hey, those females, 57 plus empty nesters buying things for who you think are their grandson and children to buy for their grandkids, they're not buying this. Mm-hmm. So sorry. Or we figure out it cost us too much money to acquire that customer, and the finances don't make sense. People love the product, but the finances don't make sense. So that means, hey, this isn't an e-com product. I got to get this into retail where they're going to give me 25 cents a unit, and they're going to order 1 million units. I got to get it on the end cap of something at a checkout item.
You know what? Well, I mean, remember the show, my show, All American Makers, and part of that show was a focus group interview, and we would bring people in from high and low, and we would recreate what Brian's, like, not anything close to what Brian's able to achieve, but we would bring in, women, men, old, young, all ethnicities, and we would bring them in, and they would look at it and see, and we would have an actual moderator, and they would talk about the price, and they would you pay $19.99 for this? I'd watch it in the green room with the inventor, and it worked. But this, Brian, this is on steroids. This is you can collect that type of data. If the price is too high, thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people are going to tell you, and it's not going to cost you what it would even cost you for a focus group interview back in the day. So I was under a misconception here. I thought you were a social media firm. I thought you just did you called it pretty pictures, but it's also great to get your brand out there and your name and all that stuff and do that. But I thought that was the crux of the business, the lead generation and the testing of the waters. That's a whole different, that's a horse of a completely different color.
And that's really what people need now, because when I started my first agency in 2008, when Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all this shit wasn't even around, right? It was Facebook. That was it. And Twitter was kind of like, do you have a Twitter? No, I don't even know what that is yet, right? So back then it was, how many followers do you have? That was the currency, because people weren't exactly selling in a trackable way through Facebook. Now, the currency is not likes and follows. It's, are you selling? Are you converting sales? You can buy things directly inside of Facebook. You don't even have to leave the program or the app or whatever you're on to make a purchase. So where a lot of people spend their time is creating that content that they're posting every day. And look at how great my content is. It's like, yeah, but you have 47 followers and you're related to 36 of them, so it doesn't matter if you post the best thing about your product. You're selling water bottles and you have the best water bottle in the world, but only 47 people are following you on Facebook. Well, for $500, I can take that water bottle and put it in front of 47 million people, right? And they're going to tell me, is this the right product for us? So the bang for the buck in paying for advertising versus just thinking you're going to post things organically and people are going to find you, it's not even comparable.
Wow. Right. Well, people need to pull their head out of their ass and realize this. I'm one of them. I mean, I do a lot of selling on Facebook. I do a ton of selling on Amazon and stuff like that. But I mean, just the availability, the beautiful thing is, and I'm going to give up a little something about you, Brian, I'm sorry, but you have an MBA in finance from Babson. So you're a guy that's doing social media, but is also well entrenched in the M&A space, mergers and acquisitions. You understand what a financial statement looks like. You know what a balance sheet looks like. Does that help you do this type of targeting and the positioning and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, not only helps with that, but we have other ways to help our customers outside of just posting on their Facebook page, right? So, I mean, Mark, how many people come in the door at Posted and then we start talking about, hey, they need help with manufacturing, or, hey, they need some retail help. So the amount of things that we have our hands in allows us to be really dangerous when they come to us. And, we've had clients come to us and say, hey, I need to start running ads. And we've said, no, you don't. You need to start doing this, this, and this. And it's got nothing to do with digital marketing, but it has to do with Mark's expertise. Or we send him to Carmine. The guy a couple of weeks ago, Carmine, with the water bottle, right? Yep. Came to me, hey, I got to get this on the internet. You don't have any units to sell. The fuck are we going to do? Right. I could sell 1 million. Nobody's going to, what are you going to do when you get a sale, right? So people understand the value in social media. They don't always understand when to use it. And I think coming to us, we can, make them dangerous in the sense of understanding how to use it, when to use it, and what other options there are out there. And you know what? This might not be your money best spent. You might need to reduce the cost of your product before you even start thinking about social media. We have a client who sells ice cream and they ship it frozen, right? So we figured out that because they have a minimum order on their website of 6 units, which is 18, individual ice creams, people are adding that to their cart. And then once they see they have to buy 6 of them, they leave. Because I'll try one, But why am I going to, I'll try one for $11, but I'm not going to try 6 for $74 just to, because you have a minimum order. So the drop-offs were nearly like 98% of the adds to cart dropped off and didn't purchase. If even 10% of them purchased, they would have made thousands of dollars that month off those ads. So we had dropped the pricing down to a 3-unit minimum, and sales are slowly starting to climb up, right? And those are things that we can learn, but the product's great. The marketing's great. It's really unbelievable. I love the product myself, but the problem is those are things you don't learn until you run ads like this and figure that out. And if I was just here painting pretty pictures and posting them, I would never be able to explain to them how they have to make a business decision, not a creative decision, and I think our ability to drive business decisions helps in a way that a lot of other agencies are not capable of doing.
So Brian, is it safe to say that an agency is double, triple, quadruple the price? I mean, if they're charging based on the spend, and something's really, and I know because I spend thousands,
tens of thousands,
tens of thousands of dollars a month for advertising. Now, the advertising is, to get paid on a piece of that, it just means that you're digging in my pocket. You know what I mean? So as it gets bigger and we crescendo and we do well, your reward is the fact that you're going to get multiple items. You're going to get more and more work from the company. You're going to get recommendations. And, I just think your model is just so strong based upon not having your hand in their fucking pocket.
Right. And we offer other services, right? So we have the Amazon component.
He offers to take their money. He offers to.
I'd love to take more of it. So like we can, we have that Amazon thing. We have SEO. We can build websites. We can run Google ads. If they come in the door for Facebook and Instagram and we do well, it just naturally progresses into other business. And they start relying on us for other things like, hey, do you know anybody that does manufacturing? Sure do. Let's set up a conversation.
Right.
So but Brian, you've proven yourself. That's the difference.
Right.
That's a huge, Mark, right? I mean, that is the biggest, everyone talks, but no one ever delivers.
Carmine, you know the old adage, man, money talks and bullshit walks. And most people are full of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make a gross assumption here, Brian, but my company has the same policy, but do you have a no asshole policy at Posted Social?
That's our only policy is no asshole. So, we want to work with people we want to work with. And there's plenty of times where we say, hey, it's like the expectations don't line up here, which is okay. But I don't want to put us in a position where, somebody says, hey, I have $500 a month to spend on ads. And we say, okay, well, what are you selling now? No, nothing. We don't sell anything. And they think after the first month, if we sell 30 units for $500, that it's a failure. And it's like, well, you went from 0 to 30. You spent $500. How else are you going to get this type of return?
Never.
And then we jump that up, and now we start. We've had clients come to us that started 500 that are in the 10, 15,000 range now, because when you prove it and you start scaling up, it just becomes a math problem. Right? If our conversion is $2, well, how much money do you want to spend this month to make X amount of dollars back? It just becomes math, and that's very easy. And from a cost perspective, we have one price, or we have 2 tiers. Okay, we have more of a inventor entrepreneur pricing for people that are going to spend from like $0 to $5,000 a month in ads, and then we have that little larger spend where it's $5,000 plus. So if you come to us and you say, hey, we got about a $3,000 budget for the month, I'm not going to ask you to scale that up unless we've proven that we're ready to get to the next level and it's going to return you money. So we operate at $1,900 a month or $2,600 a month. That's it. So our client that spends $65,000 with us a month, they're spending $2,600, and the guy that spends $5,000 a month is also spending $2,600. If you're spending under that, it's $1,900 a month, and we do everything all inclusive. There's no tips and clips. It's just those 2 tiers. The reason we have those tiers is because typically with a larger budget than $5,000, it means we're running more types of ads. So that means more work. Once we get past that 5,000 mark, the difference between 5,000 and 5 million is literally me punching in a number on Facebook, which takes that long to do. So for me to charge more money to do that is stealing money.
You're going to get buried with this. You're going to get buried talking those kind of bullshit numbers.
I hope so.
If you, I'm telling you, I mean, if you do $500,000 a month in sales, and I got to pay you $2,600, I'm gonna wear a mask. All right, it's called a robber's mask. I'm gonna be stealing from you. It's ridiculous.
You get a full-time marketing team. You know what? Think about if you wanted to bring on an employee who's going to bitch and moan about they only have so much capacity to do their work, and then you have to hire them an assistant. You got everything you need with us.
Brian, what are you listening at my office? That's all I hear about. That's all I hear from people.
Yeah. You'll never hear that from me, man. Never hear it from me.
Hey, Brian, real quick, and not to get people to call you. Is there somewhere in between? How should I prepare before I call you? Like people always talk about, oh yeah, I want to sell 1 million of these, but are they really ready to sell a million of them?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times people don't understand, that you have to spend money to make money when you do this, right? But going back to our structure, I've tried to put things in place that we don't waste your nest egg trying to test this stuff, right? So we can be inexpensive and test these things. We can test for $500, $750, $1,000 a month for a couple months and see how it goes. And, if you can't invest that in your product, you're probably not ready anyway, So the biggest barrier for us is people understanding that, this is an investment into selling more of your product or to getting more leads for your business. So once they understand that, then it becomes, okay, well, what's the best tactic for that?
But they have to have physical product. They have to have physical product.
Yes. I mean, we've run, years ago we were doing, ads towards Kickstarters. But I don't know. I'm so against that stuff now because the successful ones you see, these guys that raised $3 million for a friggin' backpack, they had 2.5 soft circled before they even launched it, right? So they had their private investors ready to go. And they said, dude, we're launching on, July 13th. Can you do your investment through Kickstarter instead of through us? This way it gets jumped up, So we used to do that. But I think what's killed that is Amazon, because I can go on Amazon and get a very similar product to what you're pre-selling that I'm going to get in 90 days. I can go on Amazon and get it tonight by a fucking drone, So like, unless you're really that differentiated and you have something that I want to wait 90 days to get, that stuff just doesn't work. So if you don't have product, it's not really the right time to get involved in a paid advertising campaign.
Yeah.
So this was this is Brian just talked about a math problem for advertising, right? So this was the problem that was proposed to me. For every dollar you put in, and I skipped math class, by the way. For every dollar you put into this deal, you're going to get back 10. You know what I said? I'm going to go take a fucking loan if I got to take a fucking loan. Because I want to maximize that until the fact that obviously $1 brings you back 10. And then as you ramp up and get wild, $1 is going to bring you back 5. But it's still bringing you back 5. So the answer is, how many of these fucking dollars can I put in? But before I put in $1, get back $1. Right, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And that exactly. We're trying to find that point of diminishing returns, right? So we're trying to figure out at what point does our spend start to drop, like our spend decreases the return, right? And, maybe that means, okay, we start at $500 a month, we get up to $10,000 a month. And you know what? We're comfortable spending that right now. When we spend 12, we kind of get the same returns. So let's spend 10. And then what we do from there is we say, okay, this strategy works. What else can we try to get sales in a different way? So then we figure out another ad that works or another strategy that works, and we start driving different traffic. And then that one, now we spend another 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000 a month, and it's returning better than the other one. Wow. So you slowly build. It's not with the really nice thing about, Facebook and Instagram in particular is it's great and it sucks because they're always coming out with new objectives and new ways to run ads. And they're great because, if you know how to take advantage of that, it's a great thing. it sucks because Facebook and Instagram make it so easy for you to spend money that a lot of people that come to us and say, oh, I've boosted this post for a couple dollars here and there, they end up wasting $500-600 because they don't know what they're doing and they get no return from it, and they assume that social media doesn't work. There's a reason that all these guys are wiping their ass with hundreds of millions of dollars who own Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. This stuff works. It's just a matter of figuring out the equation.
Mark, we should have done this so long ago. I mean, you hear the shit we're learning from Brian?
Listen, how come you didn't invent Facebook, Carmine? That's all I want to know.
I did.
Seriously.
He stole it from me at Harvard.
What were you doing?
I was at Harvard. I told him about it. Boom, he stole it.
Listen, I could drop out of Harvard with my eyes closed. Don't worry about that. I could drop out of anywhere. Don't worry. But, I mean, Carmine, for every dollar you give me, I'll give you back $5. Are you in or what?
I mean, that's like saying, listen, I'm selling $100 bills for $5, and somebody says, I only have a budget of $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I would find that money like nobody's business. And here's a guy who could bring it to the table, you know?
Yeah.
And what about, Brian, what about certain items that that are fourth quarter, you know how certain things ramp up? We all know this in the consumer product business. Do you take that gas pedal and punch it to the ground for fourth quarter and really tell us a little bit about that type of strategy where you nail the shit out of it because you know fourth quarter's coming?
Yeah, the ease at which we can increase or decrease, you know, a campaign is literally, I can do it from my phone anywhere in the country, you know, or out of the country. It doesn't matter. It takes that long to increase the spend. So, you know, we have softwares in place too that are kind of similar to like Wall Street trading, right? You put a stop in. If this stock gets below, you know, to this number, trade it. If this gets above this number, trade it. So we put in things that say, hey, if our conversion cost approaches this, jack the spending up by 20%. Wow. Because that's the number we want to be at. Or if it gets down to this, let's slow it down because, you know, maybe it's a seasonal item. We can jack up that fourth quarter, you know, or any seasonality, any items like that. Absolutely. You know, we're going to spend more during that time. Now, everybody else is too, right? So you want to get your ads working prior to those numbers, like those dates. So if you're a fourth quarter item and you're not starting your ads last month or this month, you know, you're going to miss out on that because you're going to have to overpay to get your results. You need to prove that track record prior to that. So if you're a Christmas item, you need to start doing things in July, August, September, because now people start shopping October, November for December, you know, so that is something you'd want to get ahead of.
Well, what about those ads? What about those kind of ads? And I'm an absolute layman when it comes to this shit. You know that. But what about those ads? Like I go on my wife's computer and I look at a diamond bracelet for her, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden on the right-hand side, and I'm trying to be slick fucking Willie, right? So I don't want her to know that I'm looking at a diamond bracelet. But then when she gets on the computer, there's 7 fucking diamond bracelets on the right-hand side and I'm busted. Do you do that type of stuff too where it follows you around?
Yeah, I got caught shopping for a wedding ring like that on the home desktop computer, and then all those ads start popping up. But yeah, so there's it's called a pixel, right? So you install a pixel on your website, which sounds harder than it is. It's literally copying and pasting something onto your website. From that, every ad we run will pull that data. So if you go to, if you go to touchofmodern.com, which is, you know, a website that sells curated products in certain spaces, and then you close out of that and you don't buy anything, your Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, you're going to see ads for that company. That's because we're able to track that and then put those ads back in front of you. So if what about
the ice cream? What about the ice cream thing? That's a good example, right? Because they were dropping off, right?
Exactly. So we hit them again and we say, hey, you know, we noticed you didn't check out. Here's a 10% off coupon. Maybe that did it. Maybe it's the price.
Get it before it melts.
Show them. Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
we just show them the ads more.
You lessened it to a minimum of 3 now. So Can you get back to those people and go, hey, not so fast, asswipe. We just lowered it to 3.
Exactly. And if you notice, like the ads you see on your Instagram or Facebook, they're pretty freaking accurate to you. You know, like
Yeah.
even if it's something you wouldn't buy, you'd say, okay, well, I understand why they'd put this in front of me. You know, we were shopping for a new car. Now, everything I see is, you know, car ads. Well, in probably 20, 30 days, those are going to trickle off because they'll realize I'm either not engaging with them or I already bought a car or whatever. So that retargeting is a really, really valuable tool. And not only that, but we can create audiences and run ads to people that look like your customer. So if somebody comes to us and says, hey, we just had a new client come on board. They were doing a really good job with their ads. The guy who was running them was leaving the company. So they said, hey, we need somebody to step in and not drop the ball here. So we came in, we made a few tweaks and decreased their lead conversion cost by about 70% in the first like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, which is awesome because they're thrilled, and it's a really, really nice testament to what we're able to do. If somebody's really doing a good job, we can put that on steroids and make it great, right? But that information was all because they came to us and said, hey, here's all our past customers, all 20,000 of them or however many they gave us. All we did, and I hope they're not listening because it's this easy, we created an audience that looked like those customers and said, here, let's run ads to these people. Because if Carmine's the right customer and me and Carmine share a lot of similar characteristics and he buys, AirPods, right? Then I'm going to get that if they create a lookalike audience because I'm also in the market for these things. So you can use all those tools, and people bitch and moan about how Facebook steals our data. For me, it's the best thing that ever happened because I can target your tomato sauce to that little old grandmother in North New Jersey who still steps on her own tomatoes and makes her sauce. I can sell it to that person now if that's your market. Or I could find the millennials who need this app about their safe space or whatever the fuck it is. We're going to be able to target that person.
Wow.
How does somebody get in touch with you?
Brian at postedsocial.com, Brian at postedsocial.com or postedsocial.com. We have a contact form. It comes directly to me. Everybody that comes through the door, I will speak to you first. It's not one of these, the lead comes in and then I hand it off to 13 people type of businesses. So although I might not be the one physically placing all the ads, I'm the one that you're going to be speaking with on a daily basis.
Wow.
So, you know what? I've been in business a long time, and when something is too good to be true, it usually is. What's the fucking catch here, man? Let's go.
Costs money, man. That's the catch. Is it costs money. We don't work for free, but we also are very flexible, and I think we're priced at a point where if you're serious about your business, it's a no-brainer.
I think it's ridiculous your pricing, by the way.
Yeah,
FYI.
A lot of people are telling me that, and maybe it's something I got to take a look at. But we certainly don't ever lose because of our track record. We only lose if people say I'm not at the stage I'm ready to make an investment. And when we need to compete and compare what we've done, we got stuff going back to 2008. So we got a lot to show from it.
Yeah. Wait, Brian, real quick, and I have a couple people I'm going to be emailing you later, copying
Nice.
you.
Awesome.
You didn't just like wake up yesterday and say, oh, I'm going to be this pro on Facebook. I mean, you got like certifications. I mean, Facebook has certain degrees of levels that you're at, right?
Yeah. So we're actually a certified Facebook marketing partner.
Wow.
Which means based on how much money we spend on our advertising, right? So across all our clients, you need to break these, thresholds per month. And it really starts at about $1 million a month in ads to be accepted into this program. We have a team. We have 2 people inside of Facebook. So, we can go to them and say, hey, we just brought on a new client who has a startup app in the travel space. What's the best tactics to get this going? Or, hey, our client got an ad rejected because it says it broke your policy. Can you take a look at it? 2 minutes later, that thing's up and running. Or they're telling us, hey, you got to tweak the copy. You said something about, somebody's overweight and you can't advertise dieting or whatever. And they'll give us those things. So to be part of that, it's a feather in the cap that we're doing a good job. And it also just gives us a little bit of a leg up on the competition. But, like I said, I've been doing this for 12 years now, and a lot of people pop up a digital agency because it seems easy, and it's not easy. If you throw enough net out there, you'll catch a couple fish that want to pay you for your 3-month contract and never renew. But you're not going to have people that stick around for, 12 years. We still have our first client.
So what do you say to the asswipe that comes in and goes, oh no, my daughter is doing it. I'm all set. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it's like it's the only facet of business where somebody will be like, oh, I gave it to my niece because she's 21 and she has an Instagram. It's like, so you're marketing now. That's how you're making your decision. You know, you wouldn't give the manufacturing to your cousin because he builds fucking Legos. You know, it's the same thing. So we're pros at this. I know it works. We have a track record. It just amazes me that, you know, oh, I don't understand this because you know, I'm older, or, you know, we don't need to pay to do something like that. There's companies that only operate on Facebook and Instagram ads and do hundreds of millions of dollars a year in business. So
Wow.
to just give it away in something like that, you're missing opportunity. You know, you're buying a Ferrari and you're driving it like a fucking Civic.
So for all those asswipes that's giving it to their niece, pull your head out of your ass and understand that this is hundreds of millions of dollars worth of marketing. And that's a great point, Brian. Are you gonna, because you went to a family reunion and you saw your niece, are you gonna make her the fucking CFO next? Is that what it's gonna be?
Right.
You wouldn't
like,
do it.
It's crazy. It's,
you know
it's
what
crazy
it is?
that's the decision.
I'm gonna tell you from my perspective, and it's really, really shit simple. And I hate to oversimplify this, but we don't understand it.
Right.
We don't understand it. And because we don't understand it, what do? We go after the youngest person that we know that's semi-coherent, or maybe not even. And then we go, hey, listen, could you do my Facebook? Could you do my social media? But they have no idea. I learned so much today about the geo-targeting and the advertising and the lookalike audiences and all that. Listen to me fucking talking now.
Yeah, look at you.
But I'll get there. Give me. I'm a slow learner, but I'll get there. But you know, all of this stuff. And by the way, you know, if I have a company and I have a product that does $300,000, $400,000 a month. Okay, and for me to pay $2,600 for that benefit, that's absurd, dude. I'm sorry. I'm saying it in front of everybody. That's fucking absurd.
No, it is. It is. And the funny thing about, you know, talking shit about, you know, hiring your niece, I got started because I was a 21-year-old, you know, junior in college. My aunt had a boutique PR firm. One of her clients in 2008 said, hey, I think we need to start being on Facebook. And she was like 55. She's like, I don't have a Facebook. So she called me and said, hey, I'll give you $500 a month to post on their Facebook account. So I say that's not the right thing to do, but at the same time, it led to 12 years worth of a company for us. So
but since 2008, it's changed dramatically. You have to.
It changes every day. It changes every day. If you log into your Facebook tomorrow, it's going to look different than it did today. The same goes for the back end when you try to run ads. Every single day it changes. They remove things left and right with no reasoning. It's something you have to have your finger on at all times, or you're going to get left in the dust.
So how do people contact you?
Brian at postedsocial.com. My phone number's on the website. My email's on the website, postedsocial.com. LinkedIn, you can get me through here. Whatever you want to do. Just reach out somehow. We try to be as accessible as possible.
That's awesome. I mean, this is, I don't know about the rest of the audience, but I learned so much shit today. It's not even funny. I mean, really.
Good.
Yeah. And, you know, we've known Brian for so long, but it's, Mark, like you said, it's so good to really dig down deep because each person, each listener needs something different. And then we cover the whole spectrum of what he does. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I do business with Brian and I didn't know half of this fucking shit. Like, seriously, I speak to the guy 5 times a week. And I didn't even know half the shit today. Yeah, no, I knew about the posting and all the other bullshit, but I had no idea about this. About half of the shit that he's doing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Obviously, I wasn't involved in the fucking pricing because he's fucking giving away the farm, but that's not my fucking business, you know. But anyway, Brian, it's awesome. Brian at postedsocial.com.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad we got to talk about it.
No, me too.
Very cool.
So
awesome stuff, man. Very cool. Well, Brian, as usual, man, I appreciate you going through your stuff. That was very, I want to say, enlightening, as Mark would put it. Mark texted me, and he couldn't believe how much you just taught him. He said he's gonna spend like 10 times more with you now because of the stuff you talked about.
That's good. I think he's going to be the first one that we change our pricing model for.
I was going to say, at that pricing, I'm going to I will do 10 times.
No, but seriously,
Brian,
definitely. I got a couple people I'm going to send over to you. I'm going to copy out some people, you know, and if anyone's out there listening, go ahead and try running your own ads and do all that stuff. If you want to give yourself a job that you're not going to do correctly, obviously at that cost, Brian, it's awesome. You can't go wrong. I love the flexibility of what you're talking about. Very important. But what I really picked up, and Mark, what you were saying, I think you picked up on this, is while you're doing this testing, people that you're doing the work for, they're selling things. They're making money.
Yeah.
It just hasn't reached that peak yet. So it's not like they're just throwing you money. You're working for them. They're making sales.
Right. They're making sales. And then, you know, like we said, it's just about figuring out that math problem of, okay, it cost us X to sell this unit. We make Y off that unit. And then we figure out what we have to spend Z to make another, you know, like that's all it is. And it's very simple.
Yeah, but the other thing is, you could be selling, you don't know who the fuck's buying your product. You could be dead wrong about it.
Right.
Always.
This guy allows you the opportunity to say, wait a minute, you're selling ice to the Eskimos, you stupid fuck. Eskimos isn't your target. It's not.
Yeah.
This is your target, right? And find all that out for the same flat fee is just, to me, is absolutely incredible. Fuck the social media. How about the rest of that shit?
I mean, know.
That to me,
I would say 1 out of 100 new business entrepreneurs that come to me to make their product know who their audience is. They all assume, or they think they know who their audience is. Very seldom. Even myself, a lot of times when I make a product, I'm wrong when I think of who the audience is. This guy is not only making sales, but he's testing out who the audience is.
Yeah. And adjusting as he's going along. So if he doesn't like the direction, he takes a little bit of a left turn and goes, wow, we're getting big traction, man. Let's go hard.
For the same price.
Yeah. Right.
It's crazy. Awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna hang up. We could talk about this for another hour. It's just so awesome. So
crazy.
Anybody who's listening,
how do people get in touch with you? How do people get in touch with
the best way to get in touch with me right now, you can go to inventorslaunchpad.com or Carmine@inventorslaunchpad.com. We got a lot of stuff happening, but certainly I would love to go over this. We'll talk a little bit about my business maybe on the next show. But this was really enlightening, Brian. It's awesome, the stuff that you're doing. For all you listeners out there, please go on out to Google Play or iTunes or wherever you consume your podcast. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Go ahead down to markportney.com if you have a product or you have some questions, and he will be glad to get back to you right away. For myself, Carmine Danisco, for Mr. Mark Portney, for Brian Scanlon, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time on Reality Is. You all take care.